Welcome to the Dad's Bet Baseball St. Louis Cardinals team preview, and brought to you by, I was about to say I am, but I'm brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, hofapp.com. If you are watching, you can use a QR code. If not, you can go to hofapp.com. You can use code DADS, 50% off your first month. We use the Hall of Fame Bets for everything. It is a fantastic compliment to our site, Handigraphs. We're using it for NBA. It has been actually smashing because you're able to see matchups that are done in real time based on if people are in and out of the lineup. I stink generally at NBA betting, but I've been doing really well in this. And you can use off-season mode for them, which is looking at all of these MLB players that we talk about and seeing how they performed last year, looking at splits, getting ahead. You do not necessarily need lines up to be able to see it. It's one of the great things about Hall of Fame Bets. Again, use code DADS, sponsor of the show, awesome friend of the show as well. CJ, we have reached, we're climbing through this NL Central. We're not going in any order. But
we're jumping around a few rungs for sure.
Jumping around a few rungs, but we're kind of, well, we'll be honest, we're getting the bottom of the barrel out of here. So let's go with the St. Louis Cardinals, who I think at one point, am I making this up? Did we have a conversation at one point last year that I think we did? You go back to the records.
Oh, we had like a dedicated episode to them at one point. I think that it was like they might beginning or middle of May. Yeah, that they were. Forget what they might have been 7 or 8 games over 500. And right. I started making all the comparisons. I was like, it's the 2024 Mets all over again. GM comes out and says, we're not trying this year. And there was some good players on this team and they're actually better than they expected. And then that did not pan out.
71 wins in 2023, 83 wins in 2024. And then the bottom starts to fall out. 78 wins last year, Pythag of 74. So 5-win drop. I had them at 70, and we just made the joke that the market line right after winter meetings was 73.5. And what's the market line today? 69.5. Nice. So we are dead on in what we projected. We projected for this win total for this team. Who is here and who is not here? So we got a lot of new faces. Dustin May coming over from the Red Sox and the Dodgers. I actually do like that signing. We'll talk about it a little bit. Brandon Clark in a trade with the Red Sox. Dickie Fitz, Richard Fitz, also in the Red Sox are just part of the Sonny Gray trade. Hunter Dobbins. These aren't terrible guys.
That's right. They did make 2 separate deals with the Red Sox because they gave away Contreras and they gave away
Contreras.
Gray. Yeah. And those, I believe, were 2 separate trades. So
separate deals. Makes sense. Separate deals.
Yep.
The guy, I can't pronounce his last name, who pitches with both hands. Kajinchi. Ryan Stanek, who reeks of being traded at the deadline to some team that needs him.
Or DFA'd, but yeah.
Yeah, one of the two. Notable subtractions, though. These are big ones. All right. Wilson Contreras recently, who moved to first base last year and did extremely well. Sonny Gray, who you and I love, future friend of the pod. Nolan Arenado, who you and I don't really care about, but whatever. And Brendan Donovan, who you and I have always said is a kind of a dark horse for hits leader if he could stay healthy. He got traded to the Mariners, where we immediately bet Mariners for best record because we like that deal. But we'll talk about that when we get to that episode. So, CJ, what do you remember about betting on this team? Because I remember very little.
I don't remember a lot betting on this team. I remember, so you called it out correctly. We did. There was a very brief moment of Cardinals fever that we had last year. I remember thinking, especially at the beginning of the year, why the hell doesn't Arenado just waive the no trade clause and go to the Yankees?
Or the Astros. He didn't want to go there either.
Or the Astros, either of them. And even at the deadline, the Yankees go out and get McMahon. I'm like, come on, this. I don't know, weird guy. But so I remember that.
By the way, the irony, by the way, that he's a former Rocky, and the Yankees went out and got his replacement,
and then got the third baseman from the Rockies. Yeah. Also
it's
kind
of
hilarious.
Funny. Yeah.
I remember they're kind of, it won't be remembered they were a little Toronto-ish in their lineup in terms of like they had a lot of guys that made really good contact. If you go and you look at because Andy Grass right now, we don't have Donovan on Seattle updated yet, just because that trade just happened. But go look if you filter, not even filter, but look at their top guys in plate appearances, particularly Herrera, Burleson, Donovan, and Nootbaar, and then you go and you look at those contact rates: 78.8%. 83.7%, 87.8%, 80.5%, Mason Wynn 84.1%. This was a team that was, at least for opposing pitchers, a pain in the ass to have to pitch to. They were not a high K team unless you were going against Nolan Gorman or Jordan Walker, who stinks. They didn't really strike out.
We can say that now, by the way. He stinks.
He's not very good. So yeah, there were some elements there of, you could kind of see it where they could put a string of hits together, and I think in the beginning of the year, that was one of their shticks, was like they just were this really good team at getting on base. But then if you sort by the ISO category, it's not very
like singles.
Yep. You have your leading ISO batter with 180 is fine, but if he's your leading batter at 180, that's a serious problem. And that was Herrera. Donovan 135. Was it Mason Wynn 110, Nootbaar 128. There was a lot of contact and not a lot of oomph in that contact. So, I remember never betting home runs on literally anybody on this team. And I remember this was another team that there were a few pitchers that I really did like to bet against for on the Dong area. And that would have been Mikolas, that would have been Palente, however you say that, Liberatore. There was and Gray too. Great. I mean, as great as we think Sonny Gray is, we know his big kryptonite is giving up the long ball. So
it's like Aaron Nola.
So that was, I don't know. Those were the main things I remember.
Yeah, I think like Alec Burleson was the only guy I ever touched on this team. By the way, which is funny because I sorted just on our site on the pitchers, and he paced 4 batters last year, so he actually has.
This is like one of my favorite offseason things. Is like, who is the position player that was the best and worst pitcher on each team?
I know, it's great. So I mean, I don't know if Marmo's a good manager. I'll start there. And this team had the best farm system forever. I think that the way that they handled it was nice to see Liberatore come into his own last year. He was really solid because, they worked him out of the bullpen for a year. Like he was like a pretty big deal. And I liked what they did with him. And I think that he is probably someone who I'll continue to take the over case. I'm always going to be big into a lefty to do that. But I don't know what this team really has that I can get excited about. And they look like they look kind of almost like the Midwest Angels is what I'd call them. By that, I mean, they have a lot of these guys that are on these 1 year or really short contracts and probably able to flip. Like, we joke about Ryan Stanek, but like the Phillies would take probably Ryan Stanek at the deadline. Like, the Astros would take him back.
Please take Ryan Stanek. And any team that the Mets might have to go up against, please take him.
Yeah, it's and I'm looking at this, and like you did mention, this team has always been defined by the fact that they don't strike out a lot, but if all you're doing is lacing singles, I mean, Lars Nootbaar at the top of the order, just nothing is even, there's not this next to the Rockies. Like, this could be, I'm already like, we could jump right ahead to this as we look about how we want to bet this team. Could this team be the worst team in the league?
Yeah, I think they're okay. So we have to put an asterisk next to every one of these times you ask this question, because we've already gone through this, and the answer is no. They're not going to be the worst team in the league. It's going to be the Rockies. Okay, can they be
who are minus 450 by the way to be the worst team in the league,
and probably not short enough on that. Can this team be the second worst team in the league? Absolutely. I think, and kind of think that is Shane Bloom's like goal is to sort of bottom out, because you got rid, like, they had guys that were probably too good last year in Contreras. Arenado was fine. I mean, he's clearly not like prime Arenado. But this team has been due for a significant rebuild for some time. And, the only guy that you're, I guess, really excited about that is currently on this roster is Win, but I'm also kind of like a little cool on him as well. Like I think
I don't
he's
hate
a
Victor
guy that
Scott. I just don't know what they do.
Yeah. Now from a farm perspective, you've got Weatherholt, who's in AAA, top 5 prospect. That's good. And just kind of looking down here, you've
he projects really well.
Liam
too.
Doyle.
Like he projects actually as like a Brendan Donovan. Keith Law said he's like, they look at him as like a batting leader type of guy. Like he's not going to hit for power, but he's like in that Trey Turner kind of mold where he should be able to lace hits. Obviously,
they have three top 50 prospects, 6 in the top 100. So they're at least for guys that look promising. There's some stuff there for them to be able to build around or hang on to. I mean, maybe you do end up shipping Win at some point to even kind of build that further. I feel bad I grew up rooting against the Cardinals every single year when I was as a Pirates fan, and for the fans of St. Louis, like they were basically like the Yankees of the NL in my opinion before the Dodgers came around. Like they just every year somehow this team ended up being good, and that is just not the direction the organization is taking now. So, can you if we go back to that worst sort of second worst record question, even as much as we trash the Nationals, I have more scenarios where I see a ceiling with Nationals than I do with the Cardinals.
28-1 on DraftKings for them to have the worst record.
I can't, but that's the thing. Like if it's 28,
it just feels like a donation.
Other than the Rockies, yes.
Yeah. If it should be like a Scotty Scheffler. It should be like who gets the top
field.
Yes. Yeah, with the field. Yeah, no, I agree. Well, let me look and as I'm like kind of poking around in here. So by the way, Victor Scott, the reason I brought him up, Javon, also a big fan of Victor Scott. 34 stolen bases last year, which isn't terrible.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
So longest there's a market I was looking at teams to kind of dive into on this one. But longest win streak, 5.5 over is minus 125, under 5.5. Like I don't want to sweat but I could get into a longest losing streak for a team. Like there is, there's some good, let's see what we got here. St. Louis, the number for that is, okay, do you think that St. Louis could lose 3 straight series? 7.5 is the number for the longest losing streak that they could have this year, minus 110 on both sides.
Yes, I definitely think they.
You want to do this? This could be a fun bet.
So look at their starting. So the guys that they're going to have as their. Hold on. So I want to pull up who is their projected rotation coming into, because that's really where you have to ask: is there anybody on that rotation that would screw this up? So I am on. Okay, so we're looking at. I guess I'm on the depth chart. Maybe not the. What is that rotation?
It is on race. It's under the roster resources.
Oh, here we go. Depth charts. Yep. Okay, so let's go to.
It's Liberatore, May, Palante, McGreevy, Leahy. McGreevy pitched admirably at the end of last year.
The only one I would say, just based on only looking at last year, could be Leahy. Because he does have some pretty good stuff from a FIP perspective and pretty good on like first pitch strike, that kind of stuff. But not, I mean, he only had 88 innings. So I don't know if that's real. It's not a small sample, but it's also like, you're still not quite over the 100 inning mark. His expected ERA was still 4.24. And the batted ball stuff with him is really bad. So yeah, I think I'm into that because I don't think
yeah, you want to do this? I like it.
I don't think there's a single starter that I would be like, that guy's a stopper. That's what's going to prevent us from an 0-8 stretch versus like a 1-7 stretch. I'm in on this.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Under 7.5. Wait, over 7.5. Sorry.
No, over 7.5.
Yeah, over 7.5. Yeah.
Streak, right?
Over 7.5 longest losing streak. St. Louis Cardinals. Yeah, because I think that this is actually also a creative way to fade these teams that we think are like bad, but not 40 wins bad. Like you have to have like you could have a 1-9 stretch easily. I just took it.
Oh, I mean, really good teams have 1-9 stretches. The Yankees did this last year. The Tigers had like 3 of them where they went 1-9 or whatnot. So this, you don't have to be a bad team to have a long losing streak. It's a 162 game season, but this team is not built to, I think, have a lot of consistent. And I would rather take that than to look at a market and say under longest winning streak, because to me there's more scenarios where you could have like some stupid stretch where you win like 6 or 7 games because you just get really hot at the plate.
Yeah. We played like the Rockies, and then you play like the Reds.
Yeah, or schedule wise, you get a little lucky on the pitching matchups, etc.
Yeah. Nope, I agree. Okay, can I interest you in Victor Scott to lead the league in stolen bases?
I was literally just looking up to see his price on this.
20-1. Do you like it more than what you? Okay, I guess there's 2 questions. Do you like it, and then do you like it more than what we already have?
So we have Edwards currently in this market. If you have not listened to that episode, Acuna, which we have not broken that down yet, but yes, we do have Acuna. I mean, he is 100th percentile in sprint speed. This guy is.
He's also bats 9th.
Elite of elite.
That's probably turning over the batting order a lot, like or not turning over the batting order a lot.
And like, if his, yeah, so I think you just kind of gave the answer for why I'm not betting it, because in the order. The 2 things that would have to happen for me to be like, oh yeah, no, this is some value would be he's got to be batting earlier in the order, maybe even something like leadoff, which he's not going to be. And they just traded away one of their best contact hitters that we know will get guys on base, and that's Donovan. And Donovan is no longer on this team. So I don't know. I'm not seeing at 20-1. I don't think that's long enough for me to roll the dice with them.
Not with the 9 hitter.
I would much rather have Edwards at 25-1 at a basically a worse price with a guy that I'd feel much more confident in the lineup about.
Yep. Nope. I agree. By the way, multiple Pirates on this list, which is just very interesting to me. I see our guy Luke Keishel, by the way, on here too, from previous episodes. Okay. Well, I don't know if there's a lot more to say about this team. This Cardinals team, I have memories of them beating up on the Phillies all the time. Ryan Howard's last literal stance was him tearing his Achilles in that batter's box in the game 5. And then this Phillies team then kind of got the better than the last few years, but yeah, there's nothing I really want on this Cardinals team. I think that the best way to play this, I think that these teams that are not good and are in that no man's land of bad, of towards bad, could be worse if the Rockies didn't exist.
Yes.
I think the over longest losing streak is something. Maybe we catch this in April.
Is the last question then 69.5? Are we over or are we under?
I think I'm under.
I think I'm like slightly under. I'm like right there at like 68, 69 for me, but I'm under.
Under wins. Yeah, it's I think it's just also because in that division, like I'm giving a lot of those wins to the Pirates.
Yes. Which if the Pirates end up being the Pirates that we're used to getting, then yeah, this could look bad early. But
they're 30.
Listen to our Pirates preview and kind of hear us
35 and 36. 35 and 36 against above 500 teams. I just want to see if.
And their record in 1-run games was also like pretty good last year. That tends to have a little bit of regression. They were 26 and 21 in 1-run games, and no Helsley. Bullpen is. And by the way, this is when Helsley
they were really good.
They were 5 games above 500 in 1-run games. So some of that you might have a little bit of regression in a worse bullpen coming into this year. I mean, Phil Maton or Maton was
Maton.
Yeah, Phil Maton was also, I believe, great for them early last season, and they had a pretty decent bullpen to kind of help them. So
the funny, they were terrible. They didn't hit their Pythag, and they had the 6th highest luck index. By the way, just so you know, do you need to guess who had the highest luck index last year?
I know who definitely is it's the Guardians.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
You don't even have to be cute.
And I know who's worst in that index. It's the Rangers. Has to be
the Rangers. Yeah. But I'm looking. Just the one last thing I want to look at was in the division. In their division, the Cardinals were the Pirates were 19 and 33, and the Cardinals were 24 and 28. So yeah, and so we are thinking that. So we are giving some of those wins. Yeah, it's an under for me because we're giving them that. They by the way, 16 and 15 against the West, 22-26 at interleague, 44 and 37 at home, which is pretty good. They were terrible on the road. They were awful in extra innings. Like you said, they're going to regress on 1-run games, and I mean, this was and they got worse. So let's all right. So we're gonna go with St. Louis Cardinals under their win total. We both agree. And then we're going to take the over on 7.5 longest losing streak for this team. I think that's all there really is then to say about the St. Louis Cardinals. Keep sticking around for all of these. Listen to them twice. Send them to your friends. Give us 5 stars. We have comments now on Spotify. So if you want to leave comments, we love that. We will reply to them. Again, thank you, Hall of Fame Bets. Use code DADS. Handigraphs, use code HGEdge as we get ready. We will have spring training stuff. If you are a DGen and want to bet on that, we'll have it. So, so we'll see you on our next preview as we keep moving through these.